You know that feeling when you're on top of the world? That was me. I had a thriving career as a software engineer, a charming suburban home with a white picket fence, and a wife, Emma, who was the embodiment of my dreams. We were the couple others looked at with a mix of admiration and envy. Life was, in every sense of the word, perfect. At least that's what I thought. It all started on an ordinary Tuesday evening. Emma was out with her best friend, Laura, for one of their frequent girls' nights. I didn't mind. In fact, I encouraged her to maintain her friendships. Trust was the bedrock of our relationship, or so I believed. Feeling restless, I decided to clean out the attic, a task I'd been putting off for months. Amidst dusty boxes of old photos and forgotten souvenirs, I stumbled upon a small, ornate wooden box I'd never seen before. Curiosity piqued. I opened it to find a collection of letters tied together with a crimson ribbon. Now, I'm not typically the snooping type, but something about this box felt off. The letters were addressed to Emma, penned in elegant handwriting that wasn't mine. The first one began innocuously enough, talking about shared memories and inside jokes. But as I read on, the tone shifted. The words became more intimate, the language more suggestive. My heart pounded as the realization sank in. Emma was having an affair. And not just any affair, she was involved with Laura. I sat there, the dim light of the attic casting long shadows, as a whirlwind of emotions swept over me. Betrayal, hurt, confusion. But amid the chaos, a strange sense of clarity emerged. I wasn't angry because Emma was bisexual. That wasn't the issue. It was the deceit, the lies, the months, possibly years of living a double life. I could have confronted her then and there, demanded answers, shouted, broken things, but where's the satisfaction in that? No, I decided on a different path. If Emma wanted to play games, I was more than willing to join, but on my terms. Over the next few days, I meticulously crafted a plan. First, I needed more information. I became the picture of a doting husband, giving no hint of my discovery. I even suggested that Emma invite Laura over more often. "You two seem to have so much fun together," I said, with a sincere smile that masked my true intentions. Emma took the bait. She began bringing Laura around more frequently, perhaps relieved that I was so accepting of their close friendship. I observed them carefully, the stolen glances, the subtle touches, the way they seemed to communicate without words. It was almost impressive how oblivious they thought I was. One evening, as we sat around the dinner table, I proposed an idea. "You know, I've been thinking. We should take a trip, just the three of us, a getaway to unwind. What do you ladies think?" Emma looked surprised. "The three of us?" "Sure," I replied. "You've been working hard, and Laura's practically family. Why not?" Laura glanced at Emma, a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes, but the allure of a free vacation was too tempting to pass up. "That sounds amazing," she said, her smile a tad too enthusiastic. "Great, I'll handle all the arrangements." I booked a luxurious cabin in the mountains, secluded and equipped with all the amenities one could desire. It was the perfect setting for what I had in mind. Upon arrival, the ladies were thrilled. The cabin was stunning large windows overlooking a serene lake, a hot tub on the deck, and a cozy fireplace that promised warmth against the crisp mountain air. The first night was pleasant enough. We shared a bottle of wine, laughed over old stories, and for a moment I almost forgot the underlying tension. Almost. The next day, while Emma and Laura went for a hike, I set the next phase of my plan into motion. I installed discreet cameras around the cabin, ensuring they were well hidden but strategically placed. It wasn't legal per se, but I was beyond caring about legalities. When they returned, flushed and exhilarated from their adventure, I suggested we play a game. "How about a treasure hunt?" I offered. "I've hidden clues around the cabin leading to a grand prize." They agreed, intrigued by the spontaneity. The hunt began innocently enough, riddles leading to small trinkets or treats. But as they progressed, the clues became more personal, referencing inside jokes they thought only they knew. I watched as confusion knitted their brows. "Did you tell him about that time at the beach?" Laura whispered to Emma. "No, I thought you did," Emma replied, her voice tinged with anxiety. The final clue led them to the basement, a room they'd yet to explore. I followed them down, the air thick with anticipation. In the center of the room was a table draped with a velvet cloth. On it rested a laptop connected to a projector. The walls were bare except for a large screen. "What's going on?" Emma asked, her eyes darting between me and the setup. "Just a little surprise," I said, locking the door behind us. "Please have a seat." They hesitated but complied, the unease palpable. I started the slideshow. At first, it displayed harmless photos, our wedding, holidays, gatherings with friends. Then, the images shifted. Pictures of Emma and Laura in compromising situations, timestamps indicating they were taken during times Emma had claimed to be elsewhere. "How did you get these?" Laura gasped, her face draining of color. I smiled thinly. "You'd be surprised what one can find when motivated." Emma stood up, her voice shaking. "This is insane. You had no right—" "No right?" I interrupted, my calm tone contrasting sharply with the storm brewing inside me. "I had every right. You're my wife. Or did you forget that while you were sneaking around?" She opened her mouth to respond, but no words came out. I continued, "But wait, there's more." I clicked a button, and a video began to play. It was footage from earlier that day, Emma and Laura in the woods, sharing more than just a friendly embrace. "You've been spying on us?" Emma whispered, horrified. "Consider it documenting," I replied. "I needed evidence." "Evidence for what?" Laura demanded. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a stack of papers, tossing them onto the table. "Divorce papers," I said, "and a little something extra." Emma picked up the documents, her hands trembling. "What is this?" "Not only am I filing for divorce, but I'm also suing you both for emotional distress, infidelity, and invasion of privacy." "Invasion of privacy?" Laura echoed, incredulous. "Yes," I said, savoring the moment. "You see, Laura, using company resources for personal affairs is a serious violation, especially when those resources include funds embezzled from your employer." Her eyes widened. "You can't prove that." I leaned forward. "Actually, I can. I've already provided your company with the necessary documentation. Anonymous tips can be quite effective." Emma turned to her, shock etched on her face. "Laura, is that true?" Laura stammered. I was going to pay it back. It's not what you think." I looked at Emma. "Did you know your lover here was a thief? While you were betraying our marriage, she was betraying everyone around her." The room fell silent, the weight of the revelations pressing down like a suffocating blanket. Emma sank back into her chair, tears welling in her eyes. "Why are you doing this?" "Why?" I repeated, my voice rising. "Because you destroyed the trust we built. You made a mockery of our marriage, and you," I pointed at Laura, "thought you could get away with everything without consequences." I took a deep breath, regaining my composure. "But don't worry, I'm not entirely heartless. I've arranged for you both to have a chance at redemption." They looked at me with a mix of fear and hope. "You have 24 hours to come clean to everyone, to our friends, your family, your employers. Tell them the truth about everything. If you do, I might reconsider pursuing legal action beyond the divorce." "And if we don't?" Laura asked defiantly. I met her gaze steadily. "Then the evidence goes public. All of it, every sordid detail." Emma buried her face in her hands, sobbing. Laura sat rigidly, her jaw clenched. I unlocked the door. "The clock is ticking. I'd start making calls if I were you." I left them there and went upstairs, the weight of what I'd done settling in. It wasn't joy I felt, nor was it regret. It was a strange sense of closure. The following day, news spread like wildfire. Emma called her parents, tearfully confessing everything. Laura resigned from her job, but not before her employer discovered discrepancies in the accounts, leading to an internal investigation. Our circle of friends was shocked, to say the least. Some reached out to me, offering support. Others distanced themselves, unable to process the scandal. Emma moved out shortly after, staying with her sister while the divorce proceedings began. Laura faced legal repercussions for her financial misconduct, her once promising career in shambles. Months passed. The legal matters were tedious but necessary. I focused on rebuilding my life, finding solace in small things, a new hobby, reconnecting with old friends, even adopting a dog named Max, who had an uncanny ability to sense when I needed companionship. One afternoon, I received a letter from Emma. It was long, filled with apologies and attempts at explanations. She wrote about her confusion, her struggles with her identity, and how she never intended to hurt me. I read it carefully, considering her words. Then I penned a brief reply. Emma, I appreciate your honesty. I hope you find peace and understanding within yourself. We both made mistakes, but it's time to move forward. Take care. Daniel. I folded the letter and sent it off, feeling a chapter of my life closing. As for Laura, I heard through the grapevine that she was serving probation and undergoing mandatory counseling. Karma has a way of catching up, I suppose. One evening, while walking Max in the park, I bumped into an old acquaintance, Sophia. We hadn't seen each other since college. She was in town visiting her parents and decided to enjoy the unseasonably warm weather. We struck up a conversation, reminiscing about the past. There was an ease between us that felt refreshing. She laughed at my jokes, and I found myself smiling genuinely for the first time in a long while. Life's funny, isn't it? She said, tossing a stick for Max to chase. You think you have everything figured out, and then it throws you a curveball. Tell me about it, I replied with a chuckle. We exchanged numbers, promising to meet up before she left town. Over the next few weeks, we grew closer. Sophia was a breath of fresh air, honest, straightforward, and with a sense of humor that matched mine. She knew about the fiasco with Emma. News like that travels. But she didn't pry or judge. She simply listened when I chose to share. One night, as we sat on a bench overlooking the city skyline, she turned to me. You know, Daniel, you're stronger than you give yourself credit for. I shrugged. I don't always feel that way. She smiled softly. That's because you're too close to see it. But from where I stand, you've handled everything with grace. I looked at her, the glow of the streetlights reflecting in her eyes. Thanks, Sophia. That means a lot. As the months rolled on, our relationship blossomed. It wasn't rushed or forced. It was natural, like two puzzle pieces fitting together. One day, I received a final piece of correspondence from Emma, a notification that the divorce was finalized. Along with it was a note wishing me well and expressing hope that we could both find happiness. I folded the letter and placed it in a drawer, a symbol of the past neatly tucked away. Life had a way of surprising me. What began as a devastating betrayal led me down a path of self-discovery and new beginnings. My revenge wasn't just about exposing Emma and Laura. It was about reclaiming control over my life. Looking back, I realized that while my actions were drastic, they were a catalyst for change, for all of us. Emma was now exploring her identity openly, without the shadows of secrecy. Laura was facing the consequences of her actions, hopefully learning from them. And me? I was finally at peace. One evening, as Sophia and I sat on my porch, Max curled up at our feet, she asked, "Do you have any regrets?" I thought for a moment. I regret that things turned out the way they did, but I don't regret how I handled them. It led me here, didn't it? She nodded, resting her head on my shoulder. Life's funny like that. Indeed it is. As the sun set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, I felt content. My story wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about resilience, growth, and the unexpected turns that life takes. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's that sometimes the best way to move forward is to let go of the past and embrace the unknown.